My name is Abe Antine, and I'm a therapist in private practice in Delray Beach, Florida. I actually started my private practice about 2 years ago, post COVID. Up until then, I was working in addiction treatment, residential treatment, mental health treatment. I owned my own treatment center. We were an all men's trauma an addiction program, really treating addiction and mental illness through the lens of trauma. And I've done that since 2007. So after post COVID, we moved back to South Florida. I had merged my company with a treatment center out in Colorado. And we came back here after COVID and I started a private practice. And it's really been the first time in my career that it was all my time. It's been devoted to just straight clinical work, working with individuals, couples. Because of what I've been doing for so long, I've had that understanding, the connection of, my own attachment issues. So really starting to see some of my own struggles with my now 9-year-old. I think for me, that was a huge part of it. It was really just, like how do I show up better? It really helped my relationship with my son a lot. And that's a work in progress, but that's right. That's really the most important. And then the other piece is I've always worked with parents of young adult children that have been struggling with addiction and mental health, coaching them. And I really wanted to branch into like working more with younger, because that would always come up. Well, thank you for all this help you're doing with our older children. What do you think about our young one? And before this program, I did the Circle of, I think it's called Circle of Security. It's an attachment-based parenting program. And I just felt like I needed more. And that's kind of where that was. And that's part of why I wanted to really get into adding the content and the information and the tools to work with parents of younger age children, because I was working with the parents once the children were fully, into their addiction. And I knew, from my, I'm a very attachment theory and childhood trauma. To me, that's what addiction is. Addiction stems from all of that. Okay? I think there's a stronger connection between childhood trauma and addiction than there is between diabetes and obesity. I think that there's even a stronger link. So wanting to work with the parents when their children were young and helping them really learn how to create a stronger connection, more of a power with parenting than some of what I was seeing with my parents that were dealing with their young adults that were in full-blown crisis. How this material was synthesized, how it was, the combination of the attachment. I'm also huge into polyvagal and the neuroscience piece. I'm a trained sensory motor, which is Pat Ogden's work. It's very similar to Peter Levine. It's just got a little twist of it. So there's so much of what I do as a trauma therapist, the attachment piece, the neuroscience, the brain development, yeah. So I don't know, I use it all the time. I'll tell you, I think the piece that I really like, it's like helping parents see that this is not about taking away the boundary. It's about remaining firm while being flexible when we can, but also holding space, validating. And that's really interesting to parents, because I think when parents are exposed to this, they think this is, foo-foo and, like we're soft, right? It's like, no. I said that you still can't jump in the fridge, right? Right. I'm not going to let that, but I understand your disappointment and I'm going to hold you. And like, I get that. And like, but no, you're not. I'm not going to have you do that. Right. Like, and I just think that that's when it's explained to parents that way, they're okay. So we can stay firm, but soften up in terms of our getting with them in their emotion.